Before cities, before kings, before machines and microchips, there was stone. And not just any stone. These were the stones held in calloused hands by beings who looked up at the stars and wondered. They were us, just dressed in the skin of time. Tens of thousands of years ago, long before the written word, before anything we would recognize as civilization, small bands of humans roamed the wilds. They had no manuals, no maps, only instinct, curiosity, and each other. They were hunter-gatherers, survivors, not yet rulers of the earth, but deeply connected to it. Imagine waking up in their world. No concrete beneath your feet, no humming of electricity in the air, just the sound of birds, the rustle of trees, and the rhythm of the wind. An untouched world, vast and alive. And yet, something remarkable stirred in those early minds. They didn't just survive, they created. It began with a broken rock, not even shaped on purpose at first, just shattered by accident. A sharp edge, a cut finger, a revelation. Stone became more than stone. It became a tool, a hand axe chipped with care. Flint, obsidian, chosen not for beauty, but for their bite. With every strike against a core rock, early humans shaped not just tools, but destiny. These tools butchered animals, carved wood, scraped hides. They were the first extension of the human will, a way to shape the world outside the body. Can you feel it? That moment? A mind, for the first time, making something that did not exist before. That is where it began. And then, fire. Perhaps it came first from lightning. A wildfire sparked in the dry brush. Fearsome, uncontrollable. But someone, one of our bold ancestors, dared to go close. Maybe they threw in a branch, watched it glow, saw it feed and live and die. Eventually, they learned to tame it, to carry it, to coax it into life by striking stones or spinning wood into sparks. Fire changed everything. It warmed cold nights, kept predators at bay, and cooked meat, making it easier to eat, easier to digest, unlocking more energy for the growing brain. But more than anything, fire brought people together. Imagine them, gathered around its flickering light, sharing warmth, sharing food, sharing stories, and maybe, just maybe, sharing dreams. With fire came time, and with time, invention. Early humans began to shape their environment to suit their needs. They scraped hides with stone tools, softened them with fat, and stitched them with bone needles. Clothing wasn't just for warmth. It was protection, identity, and art. And then came shelter. Not just caves, but huts made from branches, bones, and hides. Places to gather, to rest, to plan, to raise children, the first homes, the first whispers of society. Then came the paintings. In caves across Europe, Africa, and Asia, we find the same thing. Hands stenciled on stone, animals drawn with grace and motion. Bison, deer, lions, captured with an artist's eye. Not just random doodles, but intention. These weren't just decorations. They were messages, maybe prayers, maybe memories, maybe maps. This was the beginning of something profound, the human desire to record. The first code wasn't written on a screen. It was painted on a cave wall, tens of thousands of years ago, in ochre and ash. As time passed, the tools became more precise. Stone knives, spear points, eventually, the bow and arrow, a revolutionary leap. Now a hunter could strike from a distance, faster, safer, smarter. It wasn't just about strength anymore. It was about thinking ahead, planning, strategy, memory. Every tool improved was a sign of a growing mind. And with every new generation, those minds grew more creative. And not everyone hunted. Some gathered roots, nuts, berries. They watched the seasons, tracked the rains, remembered where the good food grew. In doing so, they learned the rhythms of the earth. They may not have called it botany or ecology, but they understood it deeply. And with that knowledge came agriculture, the slow, subtle revolution, the planting of seeds, the domestication of crops, the beginning of staying in one place. Farming changed everything. It created time to rest, time to build, time to think. Villages formed, simple at first, small communities, but with permanence came invention. Pottery for storing grain, weaving, the first trade, the first conflict, the first laws. And yet the hands that shaped that clay were the same hands that once chipped stone, the same minds, the same hearts. We often look back at the Stone Age as something primitive, but look again. These were people who explored entire continents on foot, who survived ice ages, who communicated without phones, who remembered without books, who lived in sync with the land. They were scientists, artists, engineers, and philosophers, just without the titles. They invented everything we now build upon. Today, we train artificial intelligence to see, to speak, to make decisions. But all of that began with a hand pressing pigment to a cave wall, with a mother teaching her child how to strike flint, with a hunter shaping a perfect point from stone. What we call the future is stitched from the oldest threads of our past. So when you hold a smartphone or marvel at a satellite, remember this. The first spark wasn't silicon, it was fire. The first interface wasn't digital, it was the human hand. And the first technology, it wasn't made in a lab. It was born in the wild, under an open sky, beside a flickering flame, in the age of stone. Our ancestors weren't just survivors of a harsh world. They were its first innovators, and it all started there, with stone. Thank you for watching.